that they would prevent that. Anyway, loads and loads of calls on this, as we knew there would be. Amy?
We've got completely mixed views, actually, but our first call is Lizzie on line 1.
OK. Hi there, Lizzie.
Oh, hello, Kay. Nice to see you on the box again.
Oh, thank you. That's really kind. Where do you stand on this?
Well, I think it's awful. I think if you are a Christian and you're gay, you believe that God has made you in his image or her image, and therefore, why on earth would you not be allowed to be married in his or her church?
Yeah.
So, are you a churchgoer, Lizzie?
I don't believe in God and I don't go to church, no, but I was brought up in a Christian
Right,
family.
OK.
But I just think it's so cruel and so old-fashioned, and as you just mentioned, they've allowed women to do something, and the idea that God is a male or a female is ridiculous in the first place, because he doesn't have a partner.
I mean, we're kind of all in agreement on the panel, and if you're slightly outside it, as you clearly are too, Lizzie, it just does not make sense. But going back to the argument, you know, rules is rules, and, you know, this is...
It's not a club, it's a belief in God.
Yes.
The church is built on belief.
But this is organised religion. I mean, you can have a belief in God without belonging to a church. People who choose to belong to the Church of England surely have to, and I'm arguing against myself here, surely have to accept that it has certain guidelines.
But you can't, because I would agree with you, and I think Lizzie makes a very good point, which is it's about interpretation. And the church seems to me to use certain passages when it suits it. Yeah. And I think, you know, the example you gave there about, you know, God created man in his own image is a fantastic example of that, you know, that if you actually were a literalist, that then should stick, shouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Lizzie, thank you very much. Nice to speak to you. Anyone else?
Yeah, we've got an opposing view. It's Judith on line 3.
Hi, Judith.
Hi.
What's your stance on this?
Well, basically, I'm the younger generation you guys are talking about. I'm 19, well, sorry, I'm 20 now. I was 20 yesterday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I think this is so wrong. It's completely wrong because, you know, you're talking about the church only uses the passage in the Bible when it suits them. It's actually the people only use the passage in the Bible when it suits them. Okay. When you talk about God created man in his image, we're talking about the spirit, you know. The breath that we breathe is the image of the Lord, it's not the body. When you're gay in the first place, you're automatically going against God's word. Because if you take the Bible, it's written there in black and white that gay is not allowed. Right? I've got no problem personally with gay people. I've got 2 gay friends, and if they want to be gay, whatever, they can do what they want. Right? But when it comes, you bring that into the church, you're affecting people's belief. You're not just affecting the church, it's people's belief. I don't think that Christianity should bend their rules because we're in a new generation, because the Muslims don't bend the rules, the Jews don't bend the rules.
But is that necessarily a good thing? I mean, the word that we're talking about here is tolerance. I mean, would you not agree with tolerance, Judith, or you think that absolutely you should be fundamentalist about this?
No, I think that if you want to be gay, you can be gay if you want, you know, just because we have free will. But it doesn't mean that for you to feel satisfied, you have to bring your ways of lifestyle in the church.
OK, Judith, I'm going to let David bring in there, but you did enter
it's like a choice of shoe. Yeah. It's not a choice. You know, you are either born it or you're not, and you cannot choose.
Judith, you've really stirred things up here, and I'm glad you have, because we're perhaps been all too calm so far. Eric, I'm sure you've got lots of views in the audience.
We do. This is Jade all the way from Luton. So what do you think about this?
Oh, I think that marriage is about if you love someone. So if you love someone enough to want to be with them forever, then you should be allowed to marry them, no matter what sexuality you are.
Yeah, but we do have civil partnerships, don't we? I mean, so it's not that there isn't provision for same-sex couples to join together in a union, but what we're talking about them is entering into a church and having... In some ways, I can understand why gay couples necessarily want to have a church wedding, given the stance that the church has. I think I'd be tempted to put 2 fingers up to it, but maybe that's just me. But, you know, we do have some provision.
But even if you're religious, then that's something important to you.
Yes, exactly.
So you shouldn't go against your religion or your sexuality, because that's the person you are, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else, Eric?
Yeah, what do you think about this?
I agree with Jade, really. I think that if you love someone, you shouldn't go against who you are. That is who you are. You shouldn't have to say, no, I'm not going to be gay, or no, I'm not going to be religious. They should accept the fact that that is who you are and you want to be part of the church.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are the views that, you know, the church establishment is going to be scratching its head over, thinking, which way do we go on this? Absolutely, because Judith expressed it very well.
You know, we're sitting here in London in a television studio.
Exactly.
Of course, we've got sort of liberal views, and there will be lots of people who live around where my mum lives in Bournemouth who are probably shaking their heads and saying, "What is the world coming to?"
Yes.
And there is a real fear, I think, of these sort of modernisms.
Yeah.
But I think we just got to... It's the tolerance word that you kept on about. And I just think if the church could just preach more tolerance instead of condemnation.
Well, also, what strikes me from what you just said there is that maybe the church, if it's to go into the future, has to lead. You know, rather than being pulled this way and that, and the people in some places who will be saying, what's the world coming to? And then you've got the sort of trendy liberals. Maybe the church has to lead and actually take a stance and move forward, rather than quite clearly thinking, who am I going to upset and who am I going to please? You know, because...
Well, they would argue that they're not doing that. They would argue that we are standing up for our values and we have to stand against this terrible tide of modernism. We are about basic Christian values. That's what they would say. They'd say they are taking the brave step.
Some of them. Yes. Well, I mean, they've got a very turbulent summer ahead, the Church of England, because there's lots of things coming up, and so we will see. That's the panel part of today's show. My goodness, all but done. Life coach Susie Kendall still to come, of course, but first a huge thank you and goodbye to Sarah. Sarah, thank you very much. Loads of luck with the real ugly Betty. Anne and David, thank you very, very much. Great start to the week. See you back here tomorrow. Nice and prompt, David.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, the panel.